What's up, movers? I'm Coach Howe, and today we are bringing you the level 3 decompression. It's going to be called the step decompression. Although this is our level 3, it doesn't mean that we're graduating from one level to the next. We're using these decompression practices to suit ourselves. We're using it when we need it. And we're always trying to challenge ourselves, but not too much and not too little. So some days we need the couch. Some days we need our feet on the wall. And other days, we really need to ramp up our quality and ability to do work, especially with our feet. So this step decompression is going to be something that you can master to one degree of difficulty and up level and master it again and again and again and again. This is some work that you can always fall back on, and the difficulty of this practice is in your hands. And I will show you how to make it easier, to make it harder. But it's going to be a 15-minute decompression session of us perching our feet on a staircase, pulling ourselves into our back chain, pulling length and strength out of the feet, the calves, hamstrings, glutes, all the way up our backside. I'm pretty excited to get into this with you as we are picking up some low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go ahead and get my little fruit picker here. Haha. And this is going to be my support system. I can use the staircases in front of me as support. And if I don't have a staircase and maybe I'm using a curb, a stick is going to be very helpful. A 3-step ladder is also an option. Very easy to step on the first step and use that third top step as something to hold on to is going to be another option for you. Grab some old textbooks, trample on those things if you hate them. There's always going to be an option for you to do this practice. Don't necessarily have to have a staircase, but this is where I am today. So what we're going to do to get started in this practice is first learn how to perch our feet. When I say perch your feet, what we are really looking for here is the ball and blade of the foot to be in contact with the staircase. I'm going to cut myself off around this spot here, really keeping the strong ball blade part of my feet on the stoop and allowing my heels to drop. My feet have the ability here to come into a full calf raise, and I also have the ability to pull down, continue to pull, and lower my heels below the step, really pulling a lot of length out of the feet and the calves. This is going to be very challenging. And once again, however hard, challenging, difficult, easy you need to make this practice, you can turn up and down the heat by positioning of your sternum towards the floor and the amount of work that we are doing with our feet. So we will continue to walk through this. Grab your support, find yourself in your position, and I'm going to get started here as we're going to go through this once again for 15 minutes. My clock is getting started. My feet are perched, and my first move is pulling myself back into an air chair or into a hinge. In this practice, we are really looking to find ourselves in a neutral space, meaning I want my feet, both of my toes of my big toe, my second toe, pointing forward. We've got my knees pointing forward. Everything is facing forward. I've got my hips pulling directly behind me. And if you find yourself with your knees kind of rotating out, feet rotating out, try to pull the hips back a little bit deeper to get everything straight. Once we've got our hips pulled back, we're feeling our length and engagement into our hamstrings and our glutes, we want to start checking in on our tailbone. Can I pull my tailbone higher to the sky and pull more length out of my hamstrings? As I do this, my lower back is going to light up, and that's okay. We're going to feel a lot of challenge through the low back, through the glutes and the hamstrings, and we're going to do a little dance with those muscle groups, finding stability, finding comfort, and finding ease in this difficult position. With that being said, as we go ahead and continue to get into this practice here, we want to start making sure our feet are really in a strong position. Now that we have everything in alignment, we need to make sure that that inside ankle bone on each foot is pulling up and out. We don't want to dump down and in. We need to pull up and out. So as I pull up and out, I almost feel my feet coming into a full calf raise. I'm not going to allow that full calf raise to happen just yet, but I am going to stay on that outside strong side ball of my foot. I'm going to continue to allow that inside ankle bone to climb high, and as I think of coming up and out, I'm going to allow my hips to try and pull out east and west as well. Really lighting up the lateral hip here, feeling that engagement and length in the whole backside of the body. If the lower back is taking the brunt of the work, we need to figure out what position of the tailbone can be put in to find more engagement into the glutes and the backside and hold this pressure through the strong muscle groups of our body, such as the glutes and the hamstrings. The low back will inevitably take some brunt of the work, but if we are going through unbearable amount of lower back tension, we either need to come a little bit taller here, relieve that tension to let it fall into the hips, or we need to once again play with that tailbone position. We don't ever want to get stuck, and I'll show you real quick, in this rounded position here. This is not where we want to be. We need to be at least neutral, nice and flat, if not bringing that tailbone high to the sky, pulling more length and strength out of those hamstrings and glutes. So at this time, as I continue to pull up and out, I'm going to challenge myself here by coming into a max calf raise. As I come into this max calf raise, you can keep your hands on the stoop in front of you. You can use your stick, whatever it is that you need. Go ahead and use that and utilize that. If hanging your feet on and just perching on this step right now is as much heat and as much difficulty as you need, there's no need to come into this full calf raise. But if you are looking to turn up the heat here, go ahead and join me. We're going to get just a couple of deep breaths in here. As I do pull my tailbone tall to the sky, I want to double check that my rib cage is being tucked and pulled up. So I'm pulling my belly button to the sky, pulling the back of my rib cage to the sky, pulling that tailbone to the sky, getting really tall and long here. And on my next exhale, I'm going to pull my heels down towards the floor. I'm not dropping my heels. I'm not letting this calf raise just drop. I'm going to actively pull my heels down, so they're coming down now. And as I actively pull my heels down, I'm pulling my tailbone longer to the sky. Pulling, pulling, pulling hard with the heels to the floor. Tailbone goes longer to the sky. And now the heat is really turned up. I'm going to pull my chest up just a little bit from the floor here, trying to funnel that pressure from the low back into that glute complex. Continuing to go up and out of those ankle bones, up and out, spreading those hips wide, pulling the hips directly back, making sure knees are still straight forward. Continuing to pull and press those heels to the floor, finding that length in the calves. Whatever organization you need to make this practice a little bit easier, I suggest that you go ahead and continue to utilize your breath work to master those organizations and find the strongest position possible that you can. Once again, always checking in on that rib cage. We don't want to dump everything forward. Funneling that pressure into the glutes. Pulling those hips back and away, back and away. We're not getting into locked legs here. There is a slight bend in my knees. That's totally okay. As long as we are not allowing those inside ankle bones and feet to collapse down and in, we're in good shape here. You can always come forward a little bit, get a little bit more of a stretch into the backside. Still pulling length. Juggle from one foot to the other. It's all up to you. Taking nice deep breaths into the back of the rib cage, filling up that space between the shoulder blades. Let that breath work up into the top of the head. Pull the crown of the head tall and long as you pull that tailbone tall and long behind you towards the sky. We're about 6.5 minutes into this practice now. Things are really starting to light up, and this is really where that change starts to come into the body. This is where we're really challenging ourselves. Things are starting to get fatigued. Feet, calves, hamstrings, glutes, lower back, starting to fatigue in certain areas. So it's really important that during this time we continue to utilize our breath work to find strong organization in our body. put the pressure where it needs to go. Find strength and length in the backside. Pulling the heels to the floor once more, coming up and out, coming back into that max calf raise. Join me if you would like to. If you are burning and hanging out where you are, just stay put. You are doing great. Myself, I'm starting to shake a little bit here. This is where the money is at. Excellent work. Double check with my hand here. Quads are nice and turned off, nice and relaxed. Everything that's working is backside, glutes, hamstrings. Physical touch to your own body is always a really important thing, in my opinion. If you're questioning what's going on and things are feeling very fatigued, it's really nice to just get that physical touch to kind of put a map together of your body of how things are going. Once again, always wanting to pressurize the backside. We're gonna let this calf raise drop down. I'm gonna pull my heels down as I pull my tailbone tall to the sky. Really, really feeling those glutes engaged now, fully grabbing on here. Beautiful perch. I think my knees started to leak out a little bit, so I'm gonna pull my hips back a little bit more, straighten those knees. Make sure we're not bleeding out or bleeding in. Keeping everything straight, going up and out. Great work here. Another option, and I wish I'd brought them with me, but if you have yoga blocks, you can always put a yoga block on the staircase in front of you. And instead of reaching forward and kind of losing the hips behind the heels, you can elevate yourself with yoga blocks here. And then that can help you pull that rib back, double check everything's in good organization. And that can be a really useful tool for you if you would like to try that. Once again, that staircase is an awesome option for this work, because you do have so many places to elevate yourself, and we're never, if you want to come up and alleviate that low back a little bit, we're never letting go of this pressure here in this practice. We can come up here, we can check on our hips, check on our neck and our shoulders, make sure we're in good position, still activating everything. Feet are really feeling it at this point. If you have any discomfort, any red lights going on, we can always reorganize and restructure ourselves to make sure that we're not getting any pinching in the feet, any unwarranted pressure or unwarranted sensations through the Achilles tendon, up the calves, anywhere in the ankle. If that is a problem for you, we want to once again make sure that inside ankle bone's not collapsing down, make sure the feet are not collapsing down, and then finding the proper organization through the backside with micro adjustments of the tailbone to pressurize into these areas and alleviate any red light. Go to the green lights. Don't hang out in a red light. Going back to the support stick. Really getting the hips deep back. Really feeling the burn now. You have just made it through 11 minutes through this step decompression. We have 4 more minutes to go. The first 11 minutes honestly went by a little bit quick for me. So we'll see how fast we can finish up here. Once again, you always have the option, if this works easy for you, if you're trying to up level this work, you can always do some shoulder flies. You can really do whatever you want. You can take the hands, pull them to the sternum, just tug the elbows back. Really get some tension into the backside. I mean, this is just a playground for us right now. You can really do whatever you want as long as we are getting to the nitty-gritty backside. As long as our backside's engaged and we're pulling length out of the backside, you can do whatever you want here. You can bend it over. You can bring it all the way down to the ground. Maybe alleviate that low back a little bit just for a moment. And then we're going to bring it straight back. Staying strong on the balls of the feet. I really almost like to feel like the whole entire time I'm doing this practice, I am just pulling up and out of my ankles, pulling up and out of my feet. I'm allowing my hips to try and pull up and wide, really feeling the lateral hips, lateral hamstrings, lateral calves engage. And as I do that, I just feel springy on the balls of my feet, like I can just bounce and dance here. And if that's what's going on with you, I do strongly encourage that you try and come into these max calf raises, and as you do that max calf raise, you can kind of stand up a little bit, and then as we drop those heels down and pull the hips to the sky, come perpendicular to the floor again. Another calf raise here. Big shakes. Pull it down. Hips to the sky. Pulling the heels down. Pulling the hips to the sky. Even though my heels are being pulled to the ground, I'm still going up and out with my hips. Up and out with the hips. Oh, the pressure cooker is screaming right now. We are cooking. Glad to have you here with me. Hold me accountable during this practice. It's really easy to bail out and just come forward and work on the stretch, but the real money is made with learning to pressurize the backside. You will get a better stretch with an active stretch by activating the backside and pulling length. This is all good work. It's not easy work. It's very good work. Up and out, up and out, up and out. Straighten the knees, pulling the hips further back. We've got 40 more seconds here. Wonderful work. Wonderful job. Now, when I give you the signal for this practice ending, I don't want you to jump out of this right away. We want to be really careful. We want to be kind to our bodies that have just done so much work for us. I'm going to slowly take 1 foot down off the step at a time. And before I just stand right up, I'm going to give you the option to come into a deep resting squat or into a forward fold. And I myself, I put a lot of work into my lower back on this, and I really feel like a forward fold is going to be beautiful. So at this time, we've reached our 15 minutes. I'm going to take 1 foot down at a time. And as I make contact with the floor here, I'm just going to give my body a little bit of love. Come into this forward fold. Take it out to the left. Take it out to the right. Right down the middle again. Let the head drop. Just feel that length and strength in that spine. Go ahead and zombie my way up. That is beautiful. That's our level 3 step decompression. That was amazing work. Really appreciate you joining me, and I hope you had as much fun as I did. We'll catch you next time.